Good afternoon, Unlockers. We are ADHD Unlocked. My name is Michelle Beckett, and I was diagnosed with ADHD 4 years ago. And since then, I've become an advocate for basically reducing stigma for people with ADHD. I started the charity ADHD Action. I formed the all-party parliamentary group for ADHD, and I have a particular interest in girls and women with ADHD, although we do cover everybody and children and men as well. And I have written a paper which is published on BMC Psychiatry, which I've co-authored on a consensus about women and girls with ADHD. So I kind of live and breathe my ADHD due to the stigma that I have received after my diagnosis when I got diagnosed late. So that's me, but I'm going to hand over to Steph so she can introduce herself in case you don't know us.
Thanks, Michelle. So I'm Stephanie, and I'm the founder of the ADHD Advocate. So I'm a certified ADHD coach, and I coach basically the whole range of people, employees, entrepreneurs, even students, university students, basically kind of anyone that needs coaching, a parent, but apart from like the young kids, because I've got 3 of my own, all that have pretty much ADHD as well. I've got ADHD. And yeah, so I also, like Michelle, live and breathe ADHD too.
So we formed ADHD Unlocked because we were sick of adults not having so much potential, including ourselves, but not being able to realize that. And ADHD is being so bright and creative and having so many skills and talents, but just, because of our challenges that we have with executive function, just not being able to realize those talents. So we formed ADHD Unlocked as a community and as a support system so that we could help other adults to be who they really are and finally realize their potential, and to get rid of all that pain from all the shame of not living up to your potential for so many years. So that's why we formed ADHD Unlocked. But this week in the ADHD Unlocked community, we've been looking at the subject of masking. Now, masking is something that people tend to talk about with autism spectrum conditions, so that they mask and suppress who they really are, behaviors, traits, etc. But actually, people with ADHD mask to quite a significant amount, and it can cause so many problems, can't it, Steph? Yeah. With so many adults, and it's almost universal that we mask to some degree.
Yeah, there's a bit.
Yeah, so basically what is masking? It's the difference between how people seem in social context and what's happening to them on the inside, very, very basically. But we do mask for lots of reasons. So we might have see ourselves as flawed because of our ADHD. Teachers, friends, parents might have responded to us negatively, criticized us for being too much, for being exuberant, and we've tried to fit in at school, at college, in the workplace. Maybe we reject ourselves. We're scared of that rejection that comes from other people, so we try and suppress our real selves. But there's real dangers in that, isn't there, Steph? It can have a real impact on our health and well-being.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes so much energy. It takes so much energy to mask, and it's not something that we can afford, not to have. So yeah, and also loss of identity, not actually even knowing who you are. That happens a lot.
Yeah, and so we might put personas on that we mask. We might become the clown, for example, or the perfectionist, or somebody that's really in control, when actually behind the scenes we feel like we're falling apart. Or we might mask our behaviors. So, for example, we might tone down our body language, our facial expressions, or our speech volume, our tones, or we might fake being relaxed if we're actually really nervous inside, or we're constantly on guard about saying something inappropriate. So all of these things can completely exhaust us and drain us. And it's a bit like that film Speed with Keanu Reeves, where he accidentally puts a screwdriver into the fuel tank of the bus that's about to blow up, makes it all worse. Masking drains our fuel tank more than anything else. So it's really, really difficult. But there is lots we can do about it. And one of the things that we can do about it is to realize when we mask and know how we mask. Because sometimes we found, Steph, haven't we, with people this week, our members have said, I don't even know when I'm wearing a mask.
Yeah, because we are very good chameleons, some of us.
Yes, and you find that sometimes with groups of friends, you don't realize you've been masking, and when you get them all together, you think, how do these people mix? Because you're so many different people to so many. And that can be a really good thing because we do get on with lots of people. But actually knowing when and where you wear your masks, and if they've been in place for a long time, can really, really help. And they might have protected you from harm, protected you from rejection. But actually, people who love you and accept you will accept you as you are. So just maybe gradually and realistically let your mask slip rather than kind of just totally letting it go. But talking about your ADHD and accepting your ADHD is really important part of this as well, isn't it? And it takes time to do that. People might not appreciate you as your authentic self. So, maybe do it gradually. I don't know, what are your thoughts, Steph, on how to unmask yourself?
Yeah, creating space is number one, like we always talk about. You can't kind of do any of this without creating space for yourself, which is so hard for us ADHDers to do. But yeah, to get clear about who is the real you, who are you, and what do you want? And what you said earlier, Michelle, about kind of even journaling, writing out, specifying, identifying the situations in which you're wearing a mask. What kind of mask? Can you drop it? What will it cost you? That kind of thing. But what energy will it free up for you? So that's intentional work,
and that's really important, and something that our members have said and you've said over the past week in the ADHD Unlocked community, since we've been covering this subject throughout our live sessions and our meetups, etc., is that it's almost like being in a foreign culture sometimes when you have ADHD. So it's a culture that you don't know how people behave. So, for example, Japan's got quite a different culture to the West, even though it's a Western modern country. It's like, how do you behave? And it's almost like we have to read other people to see how they behave, and that can be so exhausting. But actually naming it to tame it, as you say all the time, can be one way of doing this. And actually people need to know how we are with ADHD. So it's almost a political decision at times, if you're brave enough to drop that mask and to show people as you really are, so people understand us. So that could be pretty challenging. But masking, very difficult, drains you. We do it in so many ways, both personality masking or behavioral masking, and it can really impact on our health and really drain our energy. But there's lots we can do in order to realize when and where we wear our mask, when it's appropriate to do so, how much energy it's draining, and actually who is the real you, and giving yourself space to find out who that is, what your values are, what you like, what books and films you like, what you find funny, rather than masking and trying to fit in with other people. So that's what we've been covering in the ADHD Unlocked community this week, which is growing from strength to strength. So if you'd like to be kept up to date with our events, because we do many free events, webinars, etc., all sorts, we send out emails with hints and tips on, please do sign up to our mailing list. I've put it on the post on this live thread, the link to sign up, and we've given you so much useful stuff. So if you want to be kept in the loop with ADHD Unlocked, please do sign up to our mailing list. And we do also have a special offer for the next few days until the end of March to join the ADHD Unlocked community as a full member, and it's a whole 20% off. So it only costs, I don't know, about £4 odd a week if you go for the annual basis to join us. So it's a really, really low cost for so much benefit, so that you can realize your full potential. But everybody, go be you, go be your shiny selves, and let us know on this thread how you've got on, how you've dropped the mask and how you mask, and tell us about it, because we're dying to hear. So use this post to tell us how you've dropped the mask. And it doesn't matter if you're a bit over exuberant, this is who we are. Be your shiny selves. So don't know, Steph, you got anything to add before we go and let people be free for the weekend?
Yeah, no, completely. Yeah, just live life, in integrity with who you really are, and show up in the world as who you are. You'll attract, the right people, the people that are for you, the opportunities that are going to be for you as well. That there's that congruence that often we don't kind of achieve because we are masking. So yeah, go forth and
what a brilliant word. Let's go be congruent with who we are. So thank you so much, Steph. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we can't wait to hear how you've got on with dropping your masks. So take care, and we'll see you soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.